Welcome to my iCAD series. Today I'm going bright and bold and super simple. You won't believe how simple. So I'm going to pick the prompt from week 3, alphabet. I print out all the prompts, and when I'm inspired, that's when I do them. I don't really care if I do them in order. And I just got this stencil, Alphabetica, from TCW, so it was perfect timing. So I'm going to pull out one of my cards that I am doing the Index Card a Day Challenge on, putting it in this copy paper envelope so I keep the finished iCADs clean. And now I'm going to gesso the page. And the reason I'm gessoing it is I want to blend colors on it, and they will blend easier if it's not raw paper. If you have raw paper that hasn't been gessoed, the paint and pigment soaks into the paper, and instead of staying on top and being able to be manipulated and blended. So now I'm going to take many colors. I've got yellows, oranges, blues, purples, and I'm going to mix them wet into wet, so if they blend, I'm not worried. In fact, I want them to blend. I want all these different colors. I want a rainbow of colors in my background, and I'm just blocking it in there. I am being mindful of, well, I know the turquoise and the orange, if I blend them together, I may get brown, so I'm going to avoid that. If they're across from each other on the color wheel, that's what's typically going to happen. So you got to know a little bit of color theory, but trial and error, you learn what to avoid. I know that the yellow and the turquoise are going to make a nice green. The yellow and the orange are going to work well together. The purple and the blue are going to work, but I don't want to really mix the purple and the orange. If you're unsure what you're going to get, take a minute, swatch it out on a piece of paper, mix it up and see what you get. If you like the color, go for it. So I'm adding a little bit of purple. I just want lots of color. That's a little challenging when you're dealing with a smaller substrate. This is only like 5 by 7. So I was going to start stenciling the alphabet stencil on, and then I have an idea. I want to lighten this a little bit. I want to add a little bit more patterning. So I grabbed this Tim Holtz, I think it's called Reflections stamp set. And this one has text. There's a script one, a text one, and a number one. And this is just white paint, and I'm going to brayer it onto that stamp, and then stamp across the background. I figure alphabet, these are letters, and I absolutely love how this worked. It's a nice small detail, but it adds so much interest to my page. And it ties in that alphabet theme. So I have the alphabet stencil, Alphabetica, that I'm going to grab right away. This stamp, which is letters, and then the quote that's about the alphabet. So I'm cleaning my stamp and space, making sure that this is perfectly dry before I move to the next step. So I'm taking this Alphabetica stencil, which, by the way, is not a new TCW stencil. It is simply just new to me. And I'm using black acrylic paint and stenciling over the entire stencil. I've got those bright colors underneath, and the contrast with the black here is what's going to give me that bright, bold, lovely effect. And I'm just going to go down to the end of the stencil here, And you can see I have leftover space. I'm just going to put the stencil back, move it down, and be in perfect. Again, it's a background, so something is going to be put on top of it, so you're not going to see that it's not a continuous pattern. So there we have it, and I'm loving the look. That bright, bold contrast. Grab that makeup sponge, and I'm just edging the page. Which just really finishes it off. Yes, loving that look. Now, I didn't know what kind of focal image. I have this magazine image. I cut out magazines or rip the pages of different size, shape, women, models. Now here I'm just going to cut off the excess. When I store it, I just rough cut it, saving the actual fussy cutting for when I'm actually contemplating using it. I think they're easier to store when they're not all finely cut out, and I don't want to waste my time cutting out something that I may never use. Now I want to cut it out because I want to audition it. I want to see, get a good idea of whether it's going to look good on my background. I like the red of her dress. It goes well with the red in the background. Now for these little bits, you could get your scissors in there. I like using my cutting mat and my X-Acto knife. Word to the wise though, don't chintz out on dull blades. Buy lots of blades and use sharp blades. You will cut the paper, not rip it. And there's how that looked. But while I was looking for that focal image, I came across this girl as well. So I'm cutting out her, and that's what she'll look like on the background. I like the white with the bold and the black behind it. And I like this one. Which one would you have chosen? Here's my pick. But it was a win either way. I found the quote, if plan A doesn't work, don't worry, the alphabet has 25 more letters. And I'm just gluing that down and my magazine clipping with the Fluid Matte Medium. I position it and then glue things down one at a time. And quite often, this is a good quote. Often we have an idea in our head of where we want the page to go. But if it doesn't work, change the plan. Pivot. And quite often when you are forced to do that, you end up creating something better than the original plan, or making a discovery of something that really works. So don't be afraid to deviate from the tried and true. And that's one thing that I'm trying to do with the iCAD challenge. They're short, they're easy. It's about experimenting and playing, trying new techniques or old techniques, trying and experimenting. I'm going to use my brush with the matte medium on it later, so I'm just putting it in Saran Wrap. Now I'm just shading. just to make my focal image stand out a little bit more. But it's really important when you're going to shade or color or paint over top of the magazine that you put a coat of the matte medium or clear gesso on top of it, so you turn it into a non-porous surface so it doesn't just soak into the magazine paper. If you're a subscriber to my channel, thank you very much. If you're not, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And for everybody, check, have you clicked the bell and select the option to be notified of upcoming videos? That way you won't miss any. Now on this background, I used a rainbow of colors. You could use 2 or 3 colors in the background and do the same exact thing. Don't have the Alphabetica stencil? Use a stencil that you have. You're going to still get that bright, bold background. When I do videos, it's not to have you copy what I've done, although you definitely can do that and follow everything and recreate what I've done and practice your skills, but take 1 or 2 things and try that. Try the color scheme. Try the technique that I have. Try something. Maybe only one something. So when this is done, I'll be going back to my prompts from Daisy Yellow's iCAD challenge and looking and picking one that is inspiring me today. I hope you continue watching my index card a day challenge. I also have some other videos, waste not, want not, organization videos coming your way. What do you think? I'm very happy with how this turned out. Until next time, go get creative.